kept your opinions to yourself. You kept quiet, as you should.
Well, I learned from the Paris days that you have to be smart. If I'm just being brutally honest, all four of you plus Bobble were in the wrong, to be just blunt.
Yo guys, welcome back. Episode number 4 of The Regain. I'm your host, DREAL. And with me is the Bulldog, 99 Kiz, Matthew Tinsley. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. Chilling.
Yeah, so what we want to do today, guys, like we did in the previous 3 episodes, is we are going to go into a deep dive of Kiz's history, his upbringing, anything that we can. And we will address, yes, the elephant in the room, what happened in the off-season, the flank drama. You know, as much as he wants to say, we can hear Kiz's side to the story. So what we'll do is we'll start off. What got you into COD? What got you into COD esports?
Let's see, where do we start? I mean, I've always, I guess, to like take you back to like the beginning. I grew up in a house with an older brother.
Yeah.
For a while, it was just me and my brother. I ended up having a little sister when I got older. Yeah. Into like the high school ages, I guess. So my older brother, Devin, he played a lot of video games. He would always get like the new stuff, whether it be, at the time, it was anything from Halo, Battlefield, Guitar Hero. Like, I just liked playing video games with him. Yeah. He was annoyed with me when I was younger. And he figured out that I was annoying, but he was like, well, if he plays video games with me, then, you know, he's not as annoying. So we ended up, that's kind of how we started our bond as a brother thing. And to be honest, I mean, that's like the short answer of how the thing started with just video games in general. Outside of that, I don't know. I fell in love with Call of Duty. I didn't like play it competitively or anything like that. I just played for fun. And I remember I met a guy, and it's weird. I was like, how old was I? Let me think. So COD 4, I had to have been, how old was I? No older than like 3rd grade. So however old that was, like.
What's 3rd grade?
Like 8 or 9 years old, maybe.
For us Europeans.
I don't know. Let's say like 3rd grade.
Right.
Anyway, 3rd grade, I was playing COD 4 around that time, and I had a friend named George, and I highly doubt George watches anything. So 8 or 9, okay. So George probably has no idea about competitive Call of Duty. Who knows what this guy's doing? I just remember his name. His gamer tag was like O Perfection O. Right. And I was in 3rd grade, 8 or 9. He's in high school, like senior year, you know, pushing 18 years old, and he plays with this little like squeaker kid. And he's like always like, me and him would just sit there and play. And back in the day at Xbox 360, there was like the private, there was like party chat, and then there was like the private chat where you had one-on-one. And me and George would just sit in a private chat, and we would just sit there and play. Like nothing weird, but it's just like thinking about it, it's a little weird. But I remember we'd play pubs, and he was like, dude, and my name used to be One Mad Sniper 1. And he was like, dude, you need to like play game battles. And I was like, what's game battles? I don't know. What is that? I come home, do my homework. Yeah. And then play for a little while, and I'd just go for like Master Prestige or whatever. I guess, like, I don't know. That was like the first person to like kind of introduce stuff to me. And that's like where I kind of started like learning a little bit, watching people, and then like, you know. So
just before we go ahead, so you said your brother Devin, he got you into that. So how did that work? Did you have the one setup that you guys were fighting over? Because when I was growing up, I've got a younger brother as well. We'd have the one Xbox, and we'd have to take turns. Yeah. Basically writing down, right, I'm playing from this time to this time, then you can have it from this time to this time. Obviously, I'm a bit cheeky. I'm going to push him off a bit.
Yeah. If I like, it's kind of hard to remember. If I remember correctly, when I first ever started, yes, it was like strictly his. Yeah. And then when I kind of got older, I was in that age of like, I was super young, but he was at like his age of like working a job. Yeah. So he had a job, and he was able to get like his own system or whatever. Yeah. So we had our own, so it wasn't really like that big of an issue. I remember it was a weird issue whenever we wanted to play computer games though, because I didn't have one. Yeah. So like it was hard to like find a way because he had one and I didn't. Yeah. So that was like the only kind of weird part, but no, it wasn't too hard to like balance it. Now it was hard when we wanted to play like a single game. Like I remember Guitar Hero was a rough one because like we would want to play at the same time, and you can't, you know what I mean? Like it's a one player game for the most part.
I can imagine there's arguments over that, right? Were you fighting?
Yeah. Because I was fighting my brother. Rock Band. We played that for a while, and then like he played drums, I played guitar. My dad would sing. So. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Right. So then you get into game battles. So then just explain your journey until your first sort of, before you thought, you know what, I'm going to try and actually become a pro.
Yeah. So, okay, I guess I'll tell you this story. We had several people in my friend group that would like play Call of Duty that like kind of understood what like competitive was.
Yeah.
And we would all like kind of watch stuff. And I used to do this thing, and I never told the story. I don't know why I did this. I thought it was hilarious. But in Black Ops 1 was like whenever I first started like kind of getting into like competitive.
Yeah.
Like wanting to play like game battles. I used to like play Teemo VR. I used to try to like top page at the time was like, if you were top page, like that was something like legit.
Yeah.
And I used to play like matches, and I would change my gamer tag to like pros names.
No.
For some random reason. Like I would change it so like say like a name was really like, I don't know. I remember I did John once.
Right.
And then at the time his name was John, and I would like do it with like a 0 so it would look kind of like John, and see if I could like fake people out thinking I'm like somebody, or I would do. I can't remember what names I did, but I used to do that as a joke. And yeah. Outside of that though, I mean, I guess that's like when it first started was Black Ops 1, and then Black Ops 2, all like those games, like I would start watching competitive. I was a big fan of like Scump, Nade Shot, like the big names, like, you know. So I don't know. I guess that's like the bridge way into like when I started actually watching was Black Ops 2 was when I started getting more serious, I guess.
Yeah. So my question for you is, just for the guys and the viewers that are watching.
Yeah.
Your family is very tight knit. You're a family man. You know, family is everything to you. Did you have, when you first started coming up, you were playing game battles, I'm going to assume you're putting some time into the game. You're putting a lot of time in, right?
Yeah.
Did you have the full support of your parents and your brother at the time, or did you find any issues or any sort of roadblocks with that?
It went up and down. So when I first started playing, no, there wasn't really like, they knew that the biggest thing was like, I guess I was always pretty good in school, so they didn't really have an issue of like wanting to ground me because like my grades were bad or this and that. Like I was very lucky to just be smart, I guess, like understanding school. So I never really had that issue. So during school was fine. Yeah. Obviously when I got into high school, I was playing in Black Ops 3. That was like the year that I became like really good at S&D. I was winning a whole bunch of tournaments. Yeah. Like my parents thought it was sick that I was making money off of S&D. So that was cool. They were very supportive of it. All the way up until high school ended. Right. So high school ended. Now I won't say that my parents weren't supportive, but they went from like super like yes to like, what are you doing exactly? Yeah. Because I remember I had a conversation with them. I was like, look, and like obviously like the very traditional thing is to go to college, do this, do that. And that's totally fine by me. I'm a big supporter of it. I'm a big advocate for it. But at the time, I felt like I had something special, I guess. And it went from full support to they were very, very hesitant. Yeah. And I remember that we had a conversation, and we were pretty convinced that I wasn't going to do college. And then randomly it became a kind of a weird thing, and they were like, you need to go to college. Yeah. And I went to college for like 2 semesters. And ended up like stopping completely. Like I said no, or at first I was like, I don't know, and I said yes. And then I went for the 2 semesters, and I was like, I'm not like a genius, but I'm very smart when it comes to like school stuff. Like I'm pretty good at book smarts. Like I'm good at like learning. I'm good at test taking, all that stuff. And I was doing horrible. Like I was almost going to the class and not doing the work as a resentment to my parents because I was like, I said I didn't want to do this.
I had the same thing growing up, right? So my parents did the same thing because when you first start playing, it's just a fad to them. It's just like, oh, this is gonna pass.
I mean, it's right. Yeah, I mean, it's different. It's not normal.
Yeah. But, so thinking, oh, this is cute. You can do, you can play your little games or whatever. Yeah. But then you start putting more time in, and they're thinking, right, yo, hold on. You are putting far too much time into this. How's your grades? Yeah. How's your studying? How's your education? And then it went from full support. You can play and you can do GBs and whatever. You can go to events, but then as soon as you start putting the time in, it's like okay, no, college, university, your education has to come first. Yeah. And then that's when my parents were like, okay, hold on, degree first before you do anything. But
Yeah.
when you're trying to compete, it's difficult to balance everything.
It's just hard because my parents knew it was like legit. Like
Yeah.
I was very lucky, like because in AW, I actually went to 2 tournaments. I went to the Dallas tournament in AW and then the Cali tournament and like UMG Cali. I didn't like place anything crazy, but like I did pretty good in one of them. So like, and my dad went to both of them. So like they knew it was like a thing that was becoming legit, and they knew in Black Ops 3 that I made good money for my age, especially. Like no 16-year-old was making the amount of money that I was making. Not like to like brag or say that I'm some like, you know, loaded dude, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's like just a matter of understanding that like they knew it was legit. I just think that when I became old enough and like was basically leaving their like, what's the word? Like, because they like took care of me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're my parents. And I'm getting 18. I'm leaving high school.
You're leaving the nest.
This is when most kids, you know, go do their own thing. So they're like, I don't know if this is smart. This is weird. This isn't normal.
Yeah.
And I was like, please, just let me do it. And eventually, you know, they came around, and now they're like, you know, they full-heartedly support me. So
growing up this entire time, did you feel like you ever struggled balancing school and COD? Because you said you were very book smart.
No. I mean, there was days that I was tired.
Yeah.
But no, I was very, I don't know. I had a really good at like, I don't know if it would be a photogenic memory, but I just had a really good memory of like when someone would say something in school, I would just remember it. Yeah. I don't know. For the most part.
Blessed.
I was very lucky when it came to that. So like, I don't know. I just was always like, I don't know. I was relatively smart. Like not genius level, but like, you know, I could easily like cruise with like B's and A's like it was nothing. You know, so.
I think it's cool to see that you said that, because we tell you one thing whenever we do VOD or prep or whatever, you remember it instantly.
For the most part,
like that. I think that's a talent.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then how did you balance your sport?
Oh,
and
God.
can you go into sort of, for the viewers?
Yeah.
Into that?
So middle school, I played a lot of Call of Duty, but I didn't do any sports, so it was very easy.
Yeah.
And then going into my high school, so where I grew up, our high school football team was like, that was like the thing for like our football. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was just like
that one there. Look how handsome he is there.
That one, yeah. But I played football, and that was weird to like balance the two. I remember because like obviously, you know, we have football is like almost an all around year sport.
Yeah.
Like the only time you like, I'm trying to think when you kind of have time off with that is like maybe like a weird portion of like the winter into spring. It was like a slight moment where you had like time off. But like for the most part, like it was all the time. So like, you know, you had winter practice, you had spring practice, you had summer practice, you had fall was your season. And I was playing, and at the time when I was playing football was the year like the Black Ops 3 era. Yeah. Was like when I started like taking football more seriously, but also COD more seriously. And my coaches found out that I played Call of Duty because I had a coach named his name was Festa. Right. And he's this big jack dude. I love the guy. He's like a guy that like you look at him and you like he would crush you, but like he's really nice. Like it's weird, but like you know he would kill you if he wanted to. But I loved Festa, and you know he found out that I played video games like competitively, and they started figuring out like, you know, I would go to practice every day. I would get done with practice, go home, shower, get on Black Ops 3, and I used to play 1v1 tournaments. There was a 1v1 tournament on UMG every night at 9, and I went on like a 13 win streak or something. Yeah. And at the time, those tournaments, like you won each one, that was like $1,000 or something. Yeah. Like it was, everybody signed up for them. And I remember I had like made a whole bunch of money in a week, and I remember Festa, like we would always do like our pre-game, or not pre-game, like pre-practice stretches. Yeah. And he would come over to me and be like, Tinsley, you know, how's Call of Duty going? I'd be like, good. Every day, like he found out that I made money, he would come up to me and he'd be like, you know, how many tournaments you win last night? Yeah. And I'd tell him, and he'd be like, Jesus, dude. Like I wouldn't tell him like fully, like he wouldn't like be super nosy about the numbers, but like he would just be like, you know, how many tournaments you win last night? And I'd be like, 3, a whole. Hey, how many tournaments you win last night? 4, 2, 3. And he's just like, it was so cool. But it was very hard to balance. I was tired all the time. Yeah. But like at the same time, I was young, so it was like a little bit easier to like balance the like not much sleep, or like, you know, I would nap, which like sometimes would hinder like things, but luckily I had some like amazing teachers like that just, I don't know, like they would know I'm super tired for whatever reason, and they were like pretty genuine. not like super long naps, but like, I don't know. I had good people around me, so it was nice.
So my two questions leading on to that is,
Yeah.
obviously you played sports. What parallels could you have drawn from your time as a football player? So I'm talking as a team, stuff that you could take with culture, because you know, on New York, we're trying to move that into more of a traditional sense. We're trying to take stuff from traditional sports. And then my second question to you is, did you feel like you had, because of your sports background, did you feel like you had an advantage coming into COD esports, whether that's mentally? So, because for me, one of my biggest regrets in, especially for COD, is I never had a strong mentality. I never had the confidence looking at you guys, the same confidence you guys had, the same belief that you guys had, the same discipline you guys had. I was mentally weak competing. And there's a part of me that wishes, especially now after doing boxing and cycling, that I wish I had that mentality when I competed. I let people get to me so much. It was shocking. So
how did football? I guess like the biggest thing is like I know what like a true team feels like. Does that make sense?
Explain.
So like in football, the amount of like stuff that we went through as a team, whether it be game losses, practice, the heat, hating our coaches. Like obviously I love all of them, but there's times where I wanted to kill all of them at the same time.
Yeah.
Like it was just like this mutual bond of like we hate our lives. Like not literally, but like in those moments where it's 100 degrees outside and I'm running sprints and I make the time, but because freshmen didn't make the time, I have to run again because of them. Like stuff like that, you know, it creates a different kind of character. One in yourself, but also like you see what people are made of and you become so tight knitted that like I don't want to let this person down.
Yeah.
And it's weird because like I do wish that wasn't a thing in the Call of Duty. I still don't think it's there by any means.
Oh no, we're a couple of years
but
off
like,
from that.
It would be really cool to be like, you know, I'm gonna rotate for him because like like he is like I'm not letting him down type thing. You know what I mean? Or something.
That's a sense of belonging though, right? That is you have and we mentioned this in a couple of meetings that we have. We have so many different cultures, people with different backgrounds. You all come together, but you feel like I want to work hard, not for me. I want to work hard for you. You want to work hard for, you know, for Caesar and
no, 100%.
so on.
And I think that's like a hard thing because I think Call of Duty right now, like to put it bluntly, I think it's very selfish.
Yes, very.
Everybody, like I think I don't know if it's the money or maybe the fame that people like seek. I don't know. It just like there's definitely something that creates some sort of selfishness in Call of Duty. Yeah. And almost everybody does it. I mean, I know what like it takes to be a team, and I've been selfish at times. I know I have. Yeah. So like everybody's done it. It's just hard to like get to that point because it's like there's no physical way to connect in Call of Duty. Yeah. As like sports, I'm sitting there. We're all drenched in sweat. We're all like hate everything. Like we're you know trying to push every little portion of our body, and that's like in those moments. Like obviously it wasn't like life or death, but like you see what people are made of, and like you also gain a respect for people, like because you know how bad it sucks, and you might see a guy running faster than you, and you're like, dang, like he like you know he's put it like I need to step up because now I'm letting him down. Yeah. So then it's like that, but then there's also like the competition portion of it. I guess
to your point, I think that also stems from immaturity in the COD scene. The fact that it is so new. This franchise version of COD anyway is so new. Yeah. We don't have the hundreds of years of like traditional sports and the cultures and the values that you have. Yeah,
I think it's a mixture between that and the immaturity stems from the entitlement.
I agree
that people have based off of what Call of Duty brings. Like, yeah, we're very blessed and lucky to have what we have, and to do what we do and to get paid what we get paid. Because even like, I mean, obviously people don't talk about salaries, which you know.
They should be public, in my opinion.
I think they should be public as well. Yeah. But even if they're not public, there is a public statement of what the minimum salary is. Yeah. And people would kill for that money to play video games. So, like,
I agree.
I think it's just a weird thing of entitlement that people just see as like, oh, and people, I don't know. I think it's unfortunate people don't realize how this is so short stint. Like you know, this is only a very small portion of my life. Yeah. You know, I would love to be, you know, like a Scump, or you know somebody like that can just do this every day for the rest of their life, but that's just not the story for a lot of people, and I think a lot of people don't understand that. But I think if more people were to like try to change, like I don't know how do I word this, like I guess the definition like that I forget who said this, but there was like a thing of like, what do you define greatness as?
Yeah.
And it's like greatness is changing like people around you.
Yeah.
Like it's not necessarily like what you do, but like, can I change your life? Can I change
Well, that's
one's
coaching
life?
right there.
Yeah, and that's like, I think if people did that more, I think there would be more scumps because people would look up to people, have idols, have something like, wow, that guy has something that's different than this person.
I think that comes from having the structure at an early age. So you look at sports, you were doing it young.
I mean, it taught me everything.
It teaches you from a very young age the right way, not necessarily the right way of doing things, but how you need to, your outlook on a team.
It's just a sense of like, I don't know, like, like
brotherhood, belonging, values, culture. You get
I think
that
the biggest one's discipline too.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
And I feel like COD just doesn't have that. I mean, it might do in the next 10 years.
Yeah, and
right?
I think it's going there. It's just, it's so far. Like, I don't know if I'll even see it in my career.
Maybe, but there's a concept in sport, and then you would have heard of this in football, but it's called Faka Papa. Essentially is, what does that team mean to you?
Yeah.
You want to leave the shirt in a better place that you found it. You want to work hard for all the players in the past.
Oh yeah, I mean, we wore like our shirts, like the G was like our logo, and like we would have different statements on our shirt, and like everything we did was like, it was like for our community. Like our community was so tight knit around our football team. Like if we were doing bad, like bro, we got roasted by everybody from the papers to the old guy at the Hardee's just eating a breakfast sandwich. He's like, oh, we suck.
That right there is your us story. That defines you and your team, and you live up to that. You strive to be that.
And if you're not, you get
exactly. But look at the CDL. We haven't had it's 3 years.
Yeah.
We haven't had enough time for that to develop. Maybe in 15 years' time, New York Subliners wearing that jersey will mean a whole lot more than what it does now. I think that will also help.
It's just going to take time. And it's also like hard because like our sport is the only one that has such like a diversity, I guess, is that the right word? Of like fans. Like you have almost every single person in the world that just loves Optic. And granted, like they're a great org. They've done everything like perfect, right? And everyone else is like so far below them.
Yes.
Like obviously you have like your phases and whatnot that have like a brand, but like in Call of Duty, like you go to any tournament, does not matter what tournament it is, Optic fans will win majority of the fans in that stadium.
Yeah.
Like even when we had our New York event, right? We had a whole bunch of New York fans, but like every like no matter what, Optic is still there cheering for Optic. Like unfortunately for us, you know what I mean? Like we go to a tournament and we have like our fans, but it's not like, you know what I mean? We don't have the Let's Go New York chants at every event of just diehard people. And like obviously it like takes time, but like I think that's also another reason where it's like hard to like have that because it's just such a crazy margin, the difference of like fan base that like actually attend events too. Like obviously New York has a whole bunch of fans as well as other orgs. Yeah. But the amount that attend events, like it's just astronomical difference between Optic and every other team.
Yeah, fair enough. And then part two to the question is, did you feel like your experiences in sports, did that provide you with an advantage you feel like in COD esports?
I think the biggest one is like the mental fortitude. Yeah. So in football, like the amount of times I had to fight myself to get up at 6 a.m. to go to practice, like I did not want to go. I was like, why am I doing this? It's summertime. Everyone else is sleeping in through their 2 months of summer. I'm waking up and going out here and running. Like, this is stupid. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think that's like the biggest one coming into COD because COD is strictly mental. Like there's not any kind of like physical labor that does anything with Call of Duty besides moving my thumbs. Yeah. Granted, to Fish's point, there's probably a lot of research that will come out or figure out that, you know, if you're taking care of your health, you're going to perform better. All that, I get that. We look
for the 1%. Yeah.
I do get that. But the large portion of all esports is just mental. Yeah. And being able to stay mentally focused or mentally, like, prepared or not losing full. I don't know. So I think that's, like, the biggest advantage that I've gained, as well as, like, a confidence thing. Like, when I played football, like, I wasn't, like, this, like, super, like, swagger kid. Yeah. But, like, when I played, like, I thought I was better than you. Yeah. You know what I mean?
But see, I'm not afraid of the kid that's got the super swagger. I'm afraid of the kid like you. No,
No,
that's super calm.
Oh yeah, I was calm, but like I would go out there wanting to decapitate people.
but you can tell you're a different type of beast when you are so calm with yourself.
I mean, yeah.
You don't feel like you have to shift about or move about.
No. I mean, there's a sense of confidence, and then there's a sense of like cockiness, and like it's just arrogant. And I try not to be arrogant, but I try to just exude as much confidence as I can.
Yeah. I have to say, probably one of the most confident blokes I've ever met.
I try to be.
I've ever met. Right, we've been off topic slightly, but let's try and get back on track. So, where would you say was your first proper team where you thought I could make this a career, or I'm going to try to make this a career, or you felt like you were good enough to do something?
Well, it depends on how you look. I guess the initial part was Black Ops 3 S&D, where I realized like this is possible when I was like able to like make some money and do this kind of stuff. As far as teams, I guess the World War II season of when I was on like between Conquest, which was me, Phantoms, Tish, and Gravity. Yeah. And we were able to make pool play, and that's like where I kind of made my name. But like the first initial thing was obviously when I joined E6 and Black Ops 4. I remember I was going into that year. This is like, I've graduated high school. I'm, going back and forth about the whole college thing. Yeah. I'm being told, like, okay, you need to get a job. You need to start making some money, do this kind of stuff. So like at the time I was working at a place called Moe's. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's like a Southwest grill, like burritos, stuff like that. And I was working at Moe's. I worked with my best friend that I played football with, Bryce. And I remember Jordan, which is General. Yeah. He DM'd me and was like, "Yo, what's your number?" And I'm like, "What the heck?" Obviously, like I knew E6 was like a very like known organization. Yeah. And he calls me and he's like, "Hey, we want to pick you up. We want to sign you to E6. This is going to be your first team. If you're down, that's going to be contracted. You're going to get a salary and all." And I'm like, huh? A salary? Like I'm used to like if I'm going to make any kind of money to like pay for my gas, I got to win an S&D tournament. Yeah. And he's like, "Yeah, we're going to pay you salary. We're going to, do all the things right." And like I'm coming off of like knowing that these guys, like the last time I heard about like E6 was like in AW. Yeah. And like that, and at the time, if anybody watched AW, like they were like that AM team that like made crazy noise. Everybody was like, "Who the heck are these guys?" Like General, Cade, Exib, and M. Ruiz, like no one's ever heard of these guys, and they're like making pool play and like winning, like doing good. Yeah. So I thought this was nuts. I was like, holy crap! Like I'm gonna be on a crazy org, like you got
paid to play.
Yeah. So that was like the first. Like I quit my job, I went up to the manager that like was really cool, and I was like, "Listen, I love working here, but I need to put all my focus into Call of Duty," because at the time I was working to like not make ends meet, but just like to try to be level-footed with like money and stuff.
You don't have to say obviously the amount, but was it enough for you to get by?
Yeah, easily.
Yeah. Okay.
It was way more than working a job. Yeah. Like way more. So okay. But like I was at the time I signed with E6 and I was still working at Mo, so I was making like double income. Yeah. But then I was like, I remember my teammate Steven Diabolic was like, "Dude, Matt, what are you doing working? Like you have to play Call of Duty and you're still going to work." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's cool though," because like at the time I forget when we used to scrim. I think we was still I think
it 6, 8.
It was something like that. It was a little bit later, but not super late. So I remember I would work every day from like 10 a.m. to like 3 or 4. Yeah. So like I would do like that morning shift, and I would work like all the time because I enjoyed working. It was fun. Like it was just like something different. But then he was like, "Dude, what are you doing? Like you need to play Call of Duty. You need to focus." And I was like, "Okay, fine." So then I quit like working there, and then I strictly focused on Call of Duty.
So I know some people when they start getting paid a salary, one of two things happens. Number one, you put your entire effort into it. You don't take that shit for granted. Yeah. And it makes you reach another level. Yeah. Option number two, people get complacent. They say, "Okay, I now make a good salary. Yeah. So I'm going to..." It's sort of like subliminal. It's like you don't, you're not... How do I explain it? It's... You don't go as hard as you would say you weren't on the salary.
No, right? Not even close.
So you felt like...
No, I mean, I could get a $7 million contract, and I'm still going to give the most effort. I've never, that's never been like a really big problem. Okay. I will say, I wasn't as smart with my money
Oh,
when I was
explain.
younger. I don't know, like I would just spend it on like dumb stuff, on shoes, I don't know. I love my car, but I bought my car at the time, and it was like kind of sketchy because the car was, let's say the car was X amount of dollars.
Yeah.
And I had very little bit over the X amount of dollars in my bank
Oh
account.
my god.
And I
okay.
said, I bought it. And that wasn't the smartest move, but it was, I bought it. I was very happy. And I looked at my bank account and it went from a nice number to, oh, Jesus.
It was ice cubes and bread for the following 3 weeks.
Luckily, I lived with my parents, so that was cool.
Fair enough. Okay,
But,
so so you go from E6.
Yeah.
And you went to champs with that team.
Yeah.
Right, and you finished 4th.
Yeah.
Was that your first sort of quote unquote top placing?
Yeah. I got 2 top 6 before that at when did I get top 6? I got top 6 at Anaheim and Dallas was the 2 events that I was able to get top 6 at in that year. And then obviously champs I got 4th, so that was like a big like stepping stone or like realization that like,
Scroll up one on the results.
I have a chance to win, I guess.
Right, so just so we're clear on the timeline, this is the end of Black Ops 4, guys. This is when KiSMET is on E6. He's with General, God RX, Brezzy, and Mayhem.
Yeah, I think I'm 19 at this point.
So this is your second year competing.
Yeah, second year competing, and I'm 19. So this is like 1 year after high school.
So you're in. Okay, so you make it in the Pro League.
Yeah.
So you're in the Pro League, right?
Yeah,
so,
we make the Pro League.
Okay. And how was that? So that's your first experience with the big league. So how was that for you?
It was different. Because obviously I come from like I was a fan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like it's kind of weird. Like I'm at this place that I've watched. I've watched all the vlogs of from Optic to Phase to this guy to that guy. Like I've watched them all. You know what I mean? So it's like weird. I'm in the back warming up and like, I'll see like Scump.
Yeah.
Or I'll see Formal. Or I'll see whoever. I'll see Damon. I'll see Krim. I'll see I see all these people and I'm like, holy shit! Like what is this? You know
I
what
felt
I mean?
the same because IW Champs was my first time with the big boys.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing Scump. I'm a fan before all of this. You're a fan first. You're seeing Scump. You're not trying to fanboy.
Yeah, no,
him.
I'm not. I never fanboyed. Like, I'm cool with all of them now. Like,
but internally, I'm like.
But yeah, when I first saw them, I was like, what the heck? Like, this is weird. But like it grew on me super, super quick. Like I'd say probably the first like 2 days that I was in the Pro League when I was there, I was like, because I remember I think our first split was like against E United and I saw Clay, and I was like, dude, I remember watching this guy when he had a ponytail.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he had a cap 40 and so I don't know. It was surreal for the first bit, but like it grew on me super, super quick, and it was really cool to like be in that scenario. Like, is that him with the ponytail?
So you adjusted pretty quickly. You didn't feel any pressure of some sort.
No.
Against the guys you looked up to.
I guess also like to go back to that old question about the whole football thing. I think that was another thing that helped me was the pressure. Like we played in front of big crowds. Mm-hmm. Our school was pretty big, and the schools that we played were also pretty big. So it wasn't like college level, like nowhere near that, but like it was pretty decent for high school football. So I was pretty used to like having the lights on me, having that kind of added pressure of like, don't fuck up.
Yeah, no, fair enough. So then you get 4th at Champs, and we're going into the Modern Warfare season. You joined Paris. Can you explain how that came about, what the process looked like?
Horrible. So I finish, I guess, BO4, I finish 4th, and I'm like, holy, like I'm one of the top players going into MW. I'm hearing about this league thing. Not everybody knows it's legit yet. Like everybody's kind of like, like no, it's not gonna happen. And everybody's like, it might happen. And then like it's going back and forth. I don't know if you remember. And then finally it was like, yes, this is really happening. And then like they announced the teams, and I'm like, holy crap! Like who do I contact? What do I do? This is all new to me. And at the time, I'm obviously talking to E6, like we're trying to figure something out. Because at the time we were like, let's stick, because we're good. You know what I mean? Like that's usually kind of how things happen. Recency bias. If you did good last year, you keep things going just because like it's going good. Yeah. So I'm talking to Chris, which is like Jordan's dad, the owner of E6. We're trying to like figure out, what teams are happening, this or that, what's going on. And at the time, we were like trying to talk to everybody. It was hard. Like certain players, like your big name players, were just getting signed instantly. Like, and I'm like, how are people getting signed? And that's like, and at the time, I don't know how like it was supposed to happen. I wasn't like fully in the loop, but we were as a team supposed to join LAG.
Yeah.
As a whole squad. And then something happened where Adam Godorex went to Minnesota, which rightfully so, like they took care of him and I was happy for him. But apparently and like I said, this could be not true. It could be true. I wasn't like in the for real like conversation of what was going on. Yeah. But from what I've been told was that we were supposed to go to LAG. He signed to Minnesota. Yeah. LAG was having I don't know if they were like selling to each other because I don't think it's the same owners as it was. I don't know what was going on, or there was like a lawsuit. I don't know. And then they were waiting, but then we lost Adam, so then we didn't have our full team. Yeah. They signed Aches, and then we get dropped out of it, and now we have no team. Yeah. Or something like that. And then at the time we were waiting, and this was like in the span of the off-season. Let's say the off-season's 2.5 months, 3 months. We're at like month 3 almost. Like, this is scary. Like, okay. And then they're like, we're not doing anything. And all these other rosters are forming. People are announcing. Leaks are happening. And I'm like, holy crap. Like, I went from I'm guaranteed to having a job next year to where I'm like, what do I do? So I start freaking out. And I start realizing everybody's got agents. And they got this and they got that. And I'm like, what do I do? Like, I can't talk to anybody. I don't know anybody. Like, I wasn't like, I was in the pro league, but like my community of like who I played with like was strictly E6. Like I wasn't really friends with anybody yet. So like, and not to say like it's like a friendship league, blah, 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 but like I just didn't have any connections.
You weren't networking.
I only knew these guys, and these guys had nothing, and now I have nothing. I'm like, oh God, like what am I doing? Like I don't know what to do, blah, blah, blah. And then it's going through, no teams got, like all these teams are announcing. I'm like, dude, there's no spots. And I'm like, the only teams left is Paris. Yeah. And I'm like, I can't remember how it happened or what exactly happened, but I got on a call with Lando.
Listen, I had the same call because he was a consultant at the time.
Yeah, apparently. Okay. I didn't know this. And he's like, I think he DMs me. He's like, hey, Matt, I want to talk to you about some stuff. And I'm like, okay. Like, in the moment, I'm like, what is he going to talk to me about? Because like, this is all brand new to me. It's all different. Like, it's not because before it was like, there's just like there's all these orgs you kind of talk to, and there's these owners, like you don't talk to like a caster or something. So I'm like, what? Like, you know what I mean? So it was.
I had the same thing because I retired on Black Ops 4, and Elevated Champs was the first team that I coached, and all of them were getting picked up in the league and whatever. And coaches, there aren't as many coaches back then as they are now.
Yeah, no.
And I had a message from Lando as well, and he followed me, and we had a call, and I was like, yo, Lando, what's good? How's everything, whatever? And he goes, yeah, I'm creating a roster for Paris. Yeah. And I'm thinking, you what, mate? Dude. And I'm thinking, you're not casting anymore? You're a consultant? And this is what I did. So I'm not saying, obviously, my position compared to your position is severely different. You deserve to be in the league. You got 4th place. But at the time when I heard about the CDL thing, I was just going back into uni. Mm-hmm. And when the league started coming through, you can see the ownership groups, right? And you can see who's behind them, whatever. Yeah. Right. And I was making a LinkedIn page. So I made a LinkedIn page. I mean, hey, that's how I was going through the ownership groups, and I was just messaging every single one.
Yeah, I mean that's smart.
That's how I did that. And
I wouldn't have thought about it.
And that's how I got in contact with not Drew, but the GM, the other one.
What's his name?
Not Mario, the other one before that.
No, Mario's like I remember Mario. He's like their accountant. I can't remember who.
Is it Justin? I want to say it's Justin. I want to say it's Justin.
You could say his name, and I don't remember.
But he was like the GM of Contact Gaming at the time, who owned Paris. What was the? I think it was Justin.
There was an Asian guy too.
Him. He's who I'm talking about. What was his name? I think it was Justin.
I don't know. I don't know if it's out there because he was like low key. Yeah. Like you wouldn't have known he worked for Paris unless like you knew he worked for Paris. I don't know.
And yeah, so I messaged him at the time, and then yeah, I had a call, and
dude, that was the weirdest because I remember I talked to Lando, I guess to give you context about that org, because like, dude, like I'm not gonna put them on too much blast, because like they did take care of us, but dude, I guess the small story. I talked to Lando. I talked to let's just call him Justin for now.
Yeah.
And I maybe another guy, and like I got to the point where like it was pretty certain that I was gonna get a contract. I get a contract and I'm like stoked. I'm like, yes, I'm signing this instantly. I don't even care how much it's for, bro.
Yeah.
It could be $30 a month. I'm signing it. I just want to be in the league. And I sign it, right? And I talked to, let's just say Justin again. I don't remember who it was.
The
I
GM.
just talked to somebody that was in Paris. And they were like, hey, because I told, like, obviously when you sign on a contract, it's like all virtual, so they know whenever they have you locked in. And they're like, they called me and they're like, hey, Matt, we're super excited for you. You know, we're happy that, you know, you're on Paris, this and that. And they're like, we're excited for the year, and we just want to let you know that we have other players signed, and we're working on a coach or another coach, and we're just stoked. And I'm like, oh, you have other people signed? That's great. Because I talked to Lando about a couple names, but it was like, I think it was me, Phantoms, and then he wanted to talk about Brezzy, which is Paul.
Yeah.
And that was the only people I've known about that he just like mentioned and just asked about my opinions on them. Which at the time, like, I knew Paul was a one, and no disrespect to Timmy, but I was I was like, Timmy, like, I haven't played with Timmy in so long.
Yeah.
Like, why is Timmy's name in there? Like, it's just, I didn't understand. But, like, obviously we ended up signing Timmy. But they said they had players signed.
But they didn't mention it, not a single time.
Oh, no, they didn't mention it. And then I said, oh, great. Who are we playing? Who am I signed with? They said, here's the kicker. He says, oh, I can't wait for you to find out. I said, wait, what? I was like, who have we signed? And he's like, well, we just signed them yesterday. Like, and then he's like, but you'll find out soon who they. I'm like, brother, what? They didn't tell me who my teammates were. I found out through like some like intel that like Zach, which is Zed, was signed, and Zed DMs me. He's like, did you sign with Paris? Because they're not giving me an answer. And then we found out Dens, and then that's when we were like talking. We were like, we're pretty sure it's Luca and Shocks or Conrad. And, like, I just remember I was like, bro, why didn't you not just tell me who I'm playing with?
Have you seen Love Island?
Yeah.
Do you know about Love Island?
Yeah, I know.
You know at the
Me
start,
and Brooke watch it.
You know at the start where they come in one by one?
Yeah.
Can you imagine? I can
Bro,
imagine that's how
literally,
you did.
bro, I swear, bro. Oh, dude.
You come in first and you see who's going through the door.
I don't even know who my teammates are at the time, and it's just like, bro. And then they make me go to France. The game. Oh, yeah.
Sorry?
Oh, yeah, you don't. Yeah.
I know, but
Oh, yeah.
I feel like
So, the beginning of the year, MW's coming out. And obviously, you know, in Call of Duty, the whole purpose of when the game comes out is to play.
Yes.
Like, because everybody wants to learn.
Mm-hmm.
So, they thought it was a bright idea, which, like, granted, in the grand scheme of things, it was a cool idea to, like, go to Paris. Like, we're going to have our announcement in Paris. Like, it's going to be cool. It's like what's that thing called? It's like some games week.
ESWC.
Maybe.
Or Paris Games Week. One of the two.
It was big. It's a big thing.
Yeah.
And it was cool. We did a thing in there to, like, announce Paris, announce our, like, team. It was a whole bunch of fans. Like, I don't know if they were actually fans. They probably weren't actual fans of, like, Paris Legion, but they were just gamers of France, and they just support a Paris brand or a French brand. And I think, like, Gotaga was there and, like, all that stuff anyway.
Yeah.
So we go there to do this, and we're like, okay, cool. And from my understanding, we were supposed to go there and I guess to add into the story, I was going there, and my brother's wedding is also at the same time. So I end up having to fly from Paris back to home.
Yeah.
Go to the wedding, and then fly from home back to Paris.
So then how long were you in Paris for?
I'm pretty sure we were told, like, very short, like maybe like a week or so, and then the game was going to come out. We were going to be back because our facility was supposed to be in California, in, like, Glendale.
Right.
But, like, I don't know if it wasn't ready. I don't remember the like, it's so long ago, and I remember I was always just so mad that, like, that year half the things just went in one ear out the other. I was just pissed all the time.
Yeah.
Because of, like, answers I would get and this and that. And we went from having to stay there for a little bit to they're like, no, we're going to stay here for a longer time. We're going to have you guys a facility in Bobigny, France. Now,
Sorry,
Bobigny.
Can I get a Google on this?
I could be wrong, but I was told from our guide that this was one of the worst places in France to be in. I was like, bro, dude, I'm telling you, we went to go get our I'm telling you, you can ask Zach, you can ask all of them. We went to go get our laundry done, like one of those like laundry mats, and they said if they talk to you, just leave. Don't interact with them because like they, you might get hurt.
So you're there for a month.
Yeah, the game comes out. We're not allowed to. We're not home. We're not playing any CDL teams. We're playing. I remember who did we played.
I remember
Chain,
you played Singularity, and you played Train Hard. Granted, I remember.
They made us good at the beginning, so props to it. But it's just like in the moment, bro, dude. I was away from my family. I'm in a place that does. And the cool thing about Paris is most everybody speaks both English and French. Yeah. Bobigny, not a bit of English. It was all French.
So then how did you get your day-to-days done? How did you get your
it was horrible.
Groceries done?
I mean, luckily I had Paul Brezzi.
Oh, okay.
He was able to speak French. But, like, everything else, bro, like, I remember I went down to the because we stayed in a hotel that was, like, right across from, like, this, like, facility.
Yeah.
And I remember I went to go ask for towels, and I'm talking to this guy downstairs. He's, like, nodding. Like, he's, like, understanding. He's ready. And then, like, I get done with my whole spiel, and he's, like, no. He says, like, no English. And I'm just like, okay. And he's just smiling at me like I'm a fucking idiot, dude. And it's just like, okay. No, so, like, I didn't have towels one night, so I was fucking stupid, bro.
He just sat there just nodding. Yeah.
Dude, and then I tried to watch TV. Everything is in French. There was no, like, English channels, and everything, like, I think soccer's cool, but every channel was soccer of, like, I'm talking, like, the lowest of low leagues. I've never heard of these teams, and it's just like, bro, they're playing in the backyard in a mud field, and their goals don't have nets, like, or something. I'm just like, dude, what am I watching? Like, it's the only thing that's on at 3 a.m., and I can't sleep, and, dude,
anyway.
It was horrible. I hated every bit of it. It was not fun. The only thing I remember that I had fun about is we used to have these little oranges, and we were like, so our facility was a gigantic square room, like just fully open.
Yeah.
And we would take the orange and we would throw it like from like corner to corner.
Yeah.
And whoever dropped it would buy everybody McFlurries. That's the only good memory I have of that. That almost everybody on that team can probably also agree was the only good memory from Bobigny, France. Other than that, I don't recommend. It was not my. Oh, dude, it was horrible.
It's a shame because I think the intention is there.
The intention was cool,
good, right?
But never again.
Never again.
No, I would not do it. I would bench myself so fast.
It's a shame about Paris because Paris could have been something big. Because the French community,
yeah. I thought it was gonna be big, but
have you played at ESWC?
No.
Oh, mate, it's one of the best events you'll ever go to. The French fans are crazy.
I mean, we were supposed to have a French event that year, and obviously COVID happened. So yeah. I don't know.
That would have been crazy.
I think it would have been cool.
But
yeah, I could go down a crazy wormhole with that org, I tell you.
Feel free. Any more?
I mean, I'm trying to think of like.
This is the good stuff.
I mean, outside, like, I guess once we got to Cali, it was actually pretty good. Then COVID happened, and it was, like, kind of weird. I mean, the whole world became weird.
Yeah. Was it difficult for you to sort of adjust going from, you have this format where you're going to every single homestand,
no, it was weird.
And then you're going straight to online?
Bro, I went from tournaments to, like, loving the crowd and everything to, like, I'm playing in my living room.
And then
like,
mentally, how did that affect you? How did you deal with that?
That was probably one of my worst years.
Okay.
I wish it never happened.
So then how did you sort of, trying to elaborate more, what were the thoughts going through your head? What were you feeling at the time? How did you overcome that?
Like, it was weird. So, like, obviously I've spoke to you guys about this.
Yeah.
And I'm very easily homesick.
Yeah.
And it hits me different ways. Like, sometimes I can just be like, I miss home, but I'm okay. Sometimes I'll sit there and I can't sleep. Sometimes I'll, like, not like have full-blown panic attacks, but I'll, like, kind of freak out where I'm just like, dude, like, I don't have anybody around me. Like, obviously I have you guys, but, like, there's just, like, a different feeling, I guess.
Yeah.
So, like, when COVID happened, I wasn't, like, it was weird in California, like, where I was at. Like, I couldn't really leave my house, my apartment. Like, it was, like, very strict rules. Like, you weren't allowed to just walk around. Like, you had to have a reason to go somewhere, everything. Like, if you were just walking around, like, you could get, like, a ticket. You can get in a lot of trouble, and, like, it was weird. So, like, that whole COVID spill, being there, not having anybody, really, it took a super big toll on my mental. Like, it just, I don't know. Like, I think back to it, and I just wish it never really happened. I won't say I was, like, depressed, but, like, I was on the verge of just being, I was so mentally, like, I hated myself. I hated everything. Like, obviously, like I tried my best to like put on for Call of Duty, and like I was very. It's like because it's hard because a lot of people were like, oh, you're getting paid to play Call of Duty, like how ungrateful, and like I agree, like it was such a horrible mindset, but just like life was just so hard at the time, like it wasn't fun. I was, I don't know, I was just in a different place. I was across the entire United States from my family, of everything, and I was not like horrible thoughts, but just like I said, I was on the verge of like being depressed. It started my stint of just being like, I was super unhealthy. I stopped doing anything productive for myself, and like even to this day, like it's still like hindered me. That's why like I'm so mad at myself that even like affected me as bad as it did. And it just, I don't know, it was a very rough patch. At the same time, like that's also like, I guess like to talk about it, but like I don't really want to go like too much detail. It's like that's also where like I tried to find like coping mechanisms, like I would smoke like vapes and stuff like that. I would try gambling. I would try anything that I could to like fill a void that was just unfillable. And I went down a rabbit hole of just And
you're clean now though, right?
I mean, yeah, I'm a lot better now. I still think those things that happened to me, like, not like in a sense of like PTSD, but like it created bad addiction habits and bad this and bad that. And like, it still like hinders me today of like what I did. And
absolutely. You're not alone with stuff like that. That affected quite a lot of people, and a lot of the community don't realize, as much as they want us to be grateful for the jobs that we do, as much as we are grateful for what we do, there's so much that comes with this that like, we don't understand.
No, yeah, I mean, it's hard. Like, I'm human.
Yeah.
I make mistakes, and it's rough. I don't know. And it sucks too, because like, in a sense of like the whole Call of Duty thing, like you're supposed to put on this like fake face of like, oh, my life is perfect, I get paid.
Exactly.
I mean,
if you highlight the negatives, then you're automatically labeled as ungrateful. You've worked a job. You've said you've worked a job, and you can see the differences with esports compared to traditional jobs, where this is truly a 24/7 job. We are working. People say they kill to do this for a living, right? But we do this for 13, 14 hours every day for 6 days, maybe even 7 days. When you work at Moe's, when I worked, you work a certain time. You have a certain time where you do your work, 7-8 hours, 2 days off. But there's that clear distinction from this is work,
job to life.
That's it. And that's how you balance it. With
when I would go into work, I would do my job, and then after work, but the place could burn down. I don't even care.
You can reset. You can do whatever the hell you want. You're away from this.
Yeah.
With esports, we don't have that.
Yeah.
You're getting not only is the distinction between work and then pleasure blurred, which then affects you mentally, but the amount of sort of pressure that you guys have. You don't say you don't feel the pressure, but the pressure is still there.
I mean,
people are still.
I mean, I feel pressure every time I play. Obviously, like I think I cope with it better than some people maybe like in the world or that play. But like it's pressure. Like if I don't perform, like that's the thing that's scary about this job, man. Like people say like, oh, it's nice, but like the stresses that come with it of like, if I don't perform, like my job can be gone in a second. There is no security in what I do other than performance.
That's why one of the reasons why I hate roster changes and the nature of roster changes in COD. You look at in traditional sports and you look at sports in general, when you look at a team, the lifespan of a team follows a natural curve. So essentially you have a growth phase where you're learning, like we did Major 1.
Yeah.
You might plateau a bit, and then you'll have a slight decline phase. Natural. Yeah. But then a lot of teams, when they experience that first dip, are like, right, he has to go, right? They never want to work through that to then have the growth phase again.
It's just rough. Well, everybody just wants instant success nowadays, which granted, like, success is nice because, I mean, from anything from the fame to the prize pools, like people want to win. Like I want to win. Like it feels good, So I understand the reasoning behind it. I just don't understand like why people think these like everybody's just this magical change that's gonna make things work. It just sometimes but most of the time it just there's always some kind of baggage that you can't just fix.
Yeah, I mean sometimes it's needed, like last year bringing you in.
Yeah,
absolutely. but then a lot of times, a lot of it is just sort of seen as like a magic fix.
Yeah.
And it might be good for a little bit, but then you have the same issues, and then another roster change. Oh, another roster change. That's why I like Seattle. It's why I respect Seattle.
Yeah, I mean,
so
they've
much
been
for
a
not
team
making
for
change.
2 years now.
Yeah.
So
It's not the culture we want. Okay, but right. So where were we? Ron.
just Paris. I mean, that whole year after that portion, just a blur.
Yeah.
Basically, I finished that year, and I thought, I had no idea what was going to happen. I was confident that I might still be on the team.
Yeah.
And then I had a conversation with Drew. Never call a billionaire an idiot. I remember I was on a phone call with him, and he was trying to preach this idea that we were going to play and live from France the next year, and that this was going to work. They were going to be forced to play on French servers and I was like, dude, what are you talking about? And basically, long story short, that kind of killed our whole, I don't know what you call it, partnership. And he
burned the bridge.
Yeah, he kicked me to the curb, and I was like, good riddance, I'm done with this. I don't want to deal with this ever again. It's just too much for me. I remember I would talk to him about, different things whenever we were having bad stints, and if we wanted to make, I remember there was a portion where we were going to make a change on that roster. We never did. And we had opportunities to get certain players for cheap to literally no money. And they said no. And I was like, huh? Things didn't make sense. I remember, I don't know. It's just that whole year, man. Those guys, we went through a lot. I don't know. Obviously there's times where we probably hated each other, loved each other, blah, blah, blah. But, I do appreciate all the people that were a part of that team from the roster standpoint, and then a couple of the people that were management, but not, because we went through so much stuff of just BS that should have never happened, but it is what it is. We move forward.
So there's been a rumor quite some time that one of your coaches was going to fill in and going to actually play as a viable roster change. Can you go into that? You don't have to use names, but that'd be pretty obvious,
I don't care. We had a conversation as a team that we were going to make a change, or we were thinking about making a change, and we felt as a team that Josh, our coach, might have something left in the tank. Which, granted, he was a great player when he competed, and we were like, maybe he can have some kind of life or something that can make us better. And so we decided to go into the Discord and make a vote. And at the time, I felt, like I said, I was probably a very shitty teammate at the time.
Right.
I was not in a good headspace. So I don't remember this perfectly. I don't remember how I was as a teammate. I could have been horrible, and I have no idea. And if that was the case, I'm sorry. Yeah. But I thought that I was very good and should not have been dropped. Yeah. So we do this vote. And we're voting of who do you think Josh can replace? And if he replaces someone that we think if there's what's the number, or what's the unanimous vote of a player, then that player will be benched for a little bit, and we'll put Josh in for our scrims. Yeah. And so we're doing the voting. I'm at the time I'm okay, fine, let's do it, because I'm thinking there's no way it's me. Yeah. I'm down to play with Josh. Let's just see. So with that being said, we went into it, we voted, and apparently it was a very unanimous, according to the coaches and the players, that they wanted me gone. Right. And when I heard that, I was like, bro, what? Huh? And maybe it was a tactic. Like I said, I could have been a horrible teammate, and I had no idea. But
maybe it could be politics.
It could have been politics. It could have been a tactic. It could have been just genuine. They just thought, maybe Kiz isn't good right now. We can use Josh. And I was very petty. I was supposed to give him my account to scrim. I did not give him my account because I was very petty, and I was mad that it was me that got dropped, which I was such a child. I was so I'm telling you, my mindset, if you would have known me in that portion of time, it was horrible. I was not even close to who I am right now. Yeah. I was petty, and I remember they scrimmed Seattle, and I instantly got DM'd from Nubsy or whatever at the time, and they were like, please tell me this isn't you. They're getting, no disrespect, Josh, but they were like, this isn't you. They're not playing like you. They're not shooting like you. They're not moving like you, everything. And I was I remember I was supposed to keep it low key, and I DM'd it back. I was and I sent them I was I don't know, with a whole bunch of K's or whatever, saying I don't know, the emoji. like basically hinting that it wasn't me.
Yeah.
And then at the time, like I said, if it was a tactic, it was such a fair play to Joel. But it lit so much of a fire in me at that point. Like I was watching every single VOD. I was pointing out every little thing of like that I could do better, but everybody else that could be doing better, that like I wasn't this like problem. And I remember at the time, like Troy was coaching Chicago, and I was sitting there watching VODs with Troy, and I was like, bro, Troy, like tell me if I'm like you just be brutally honest with me, because like I respect your opinion of like, am I the problem? Like, am I doing something wrong? And basically we came to like a conclusion of like, I wasn't really the problem. And I remember I was talking to Joel and showing him all these clips of like, bro, like this isn't it. And long story short, it was like 2 days, and then I came back in, and everything was good. But
so how was the team coaching moving forward? Was it the same? There surely had to be.
It was a little different at first.
Yeah.
But we were all adults. Like we were okay. At least I think so.
Yeah. So moving on into the Cold War season, you're in Challengers. So just give us a bit of a summary.
I mean, that year, Cold War wasn't anything like crazy. It was a very just kind of like up and down year, but like for the most part was an okay year.
Yeah.
It was just strict Challengers. I was on Built by Gamers, which great org, by the way. Those guys are phenomenal. I don't know how true it is, but apparently they're trying to like, they've tried to like buy spots or get in the league. I'm telling you, they might be one of like, those guys were great.
Yeah.
Like they treated us very well, and like I give them the utmost respect of like same thing with like E6, like those orgs. Like I don't know if E6 ever really tried to like buy into the league. Maybe they did, or they didn't think it was smart. But I from what I've talked to Todd and them, like they said they were actively trying, and like they weren't able to for whatever reason. Like those guys, like if they could, bro, I'm telling you, that would be great, because they're
What was so good about them?
just down to earth, normal people. I don't know if that makes sense. Like they were, like obviously they were wealthy, like, and I don't know. I just have so much more respect for someone whenever they're like a known millionaire, billionaire type person, and they can sit down and just talk to you like there's no difference in me and you. And like there's some people I've talked to very wealthy people that genuinely will look at you and like, you are nothing to me.
Yeah.
Like you don't even
I
deserve
can name
to
one
be in
that
the same.
that we both have spoken to. Yeah.
It's just like, I don't know, like that kind of stuff is just, I don't know. I don't know. I just have a lot of respect for them. I think they do good things. They take care of their players, and just a lot of respect. So
Juan, can you scroll up?
But other than that, I mean, like I said, the from what I remember, this year was like we did decent, but like we were always like a top team, but not like my Vanguard year. We were just kind of like we were cruising anywhere between like 6th and like 1st, so just like kind of like meh to like pretty good to like meh to pretty good to meh to pretty good. Like we were just very like, I don't know, like if you like like our placings are never like, we're not dominant, but like we're not horrible for the most part. So it was like a weird stint of the team, I guess.
So I can appreciate the fact that you guys stuck together for the entire year.
Yeah, I mean we made one change at the very beginning for Pentagram, and he took Mox's spot, which, no disrespect to Chance, that team was, it just didn't really make sense at the beginning, because it was 3 basic ARs and then me.
3 slow players and then you.
It just didn't make sense. So we were like, dude, we need to put Casey on the AR and get an actual sub. So, you know, that was a big move for us when we picked up Nate.
So then, not really anything notable to say about the Cold War season.
Nothing. Like I said, it wasn't anything crazy. It was just a constant, like, decent year, but nothing crazy.
Yeah.
But also to the point of, which, oh, dude, I forgot about this whole thing. So I burned this bridge with Paris.
Right.
Granted, I don't know to the extent, like, I would have to talk to Donnie about this. But there was a point where Donnie, this is going to be funny, Donnie DM'd me to basically play with him on Paris. And I'm pretty sure I ghosted him because he asked if I wanted to play, like he wanted me to go with, and at the time of the year, it was like this Cold War year, it was him, Fire, what's the other guy? Aqua, and maybe someone else. I don't remember their team. Anyway, he asked if I wanted to go.
Scraps, I think.
Yeah, maybe. He said he was like, "Do you want to come and play on Paris with me and me and McGee?" I thought he was talking about like McGee playing. I ghosted it so fast. I was like, there's just no, like, my career, like, I don't know if that's gonna work. Like, cause and keep in mind, the last encounter I've had with McGee was him yelling at me after reverse sweeping me for champs.
Yeah.
Because I was yelling at him for I don't know what reason. I had no problem with him. I just said I'm gonna pick one of them and yell at him, and I picked Theory, and I yelled at Theory, and then of course he barked back whenever I lost.
Yeah.
But I was just like, at the time I was like, dude, I think this guy's never, he like, you know, at the time he hasn't played in a while. Like, why is he randomly on a CDL team?
Yeah.
Like, this is weird. So I was like, no, like I just ghosted it.
God.
So I mean, who knows like what my career could have been?
Your year could have been so different.
It could have went great. It could have went bad. It could. Who knows what could have happened?
Had he just said Coach McGee, and I love McGee. I mean, love the guy.
Like I said, he smoked me to make champs. Respect.
Was that World War II?
Yeah, World War II.
Okay.
I got reverse swept.
That's.
But yeah, that's. I don't know. Who knows what could have happened? But Donnie messaged me, and I like kind of ghosted it because I thought he was going to play with Theory, and I was just like, there is no way that team is winning.
Fair enough.
At the time. Back in the day, yeah, like I said, guy's a champion for a reason. He's gross, but like at the time, it just didn't make sense to me, and who knows what would happen. So then I joined BBG, and we had an okay year. And I thought maybe after this year, like going into Vanguard, I might have a chance on a team because a lot of teams are doing poor.
Yeah.
And my whole email and DMs were dry as a bone going into Vanguard. So I was like, Jesus, man.
Another year Challengers.
Challengers,
Here we go again.
Yep.
But yeah, you had a really good start to Challengers.
Yeah.
I think you won 8 in a row.
This
is going into Vanguard season.
Vanguard, I think we went on a 7-win streak. I think we are the I don't know what Toronto Ultra did, like their academy team, but I think we have the longest win streak. I think.
Right.
I know we have the most. Well, I don't know about elites, but we have back-to-back elite wins. We have a 7-peat of tournament winnings. Yeah. Granted, and like I said, I know. I think that by far is the best Challengers run out of anyone. I know Toronto, like Ultra, like their academy team, like they started like doing their thing.
Yeah.
But when they started like winning a whole bunch back to back, our team also disbanded completely because we like got picked up and then Jordan and Paul stopped playing. So like, I don't know. I still think that was like one of the greatest Challenger teams to be like made at the time. Like it was insane.
So you're called Texas Nation.
Yeah.
Any affiliation or any?
Oh God.
Now let's get into this,
no,
right?
I'm down to tell this story too.
Potential affiliation with Optic Texas. Was it Optic? No, it was Optic.
Was it Optic? Yeah.
Right. So going to that.
I guess. Well, we made Texas Nation as a joke because Paul's from France, but he goes to Texas to live with Jordan.
Yeah.
Because Jordan is as a sub for Optic at the time, and then Colt's from Texas, so they're all Texas. So I was like, yeah, let's just make our name Texas Nation. But also as like a weird ripoff of Optic Nation because I knew Optic and I was like, that'd be cool to play for Optic. And obviously we were like academy teams, that's cool. Long story short, we were pretty certain that Optic wasn't really going to make a Challengers team because we understood that like there's just no real return for them. Like there's no, what's the point? Like even giving us the name like just doesn't quite make sense because whatever. And I remember I DM'd Hector about it, and I like spelt Optic wrong or something.
No way.
Well, Optic wrong. I did like the because like there's
incorrect caps.
Incorrect cap, and I didn't know that was like serious. I've to this day I will never not do the capital O and capital T. I will always do it correct. I'm sorry, Greenwall.
Hector, he's very sorry.
I've never messed up after that day, but I think he had a podcast where he talked about it once, and he was like, "I'd love to sign them as like an Optic Nation team." It just doesn't.
There was at the time, especially in Challengers, because I was coaching Challengers at the time, and I feel like there was actual support for Challengers. There was no marketing for Challengers.
The only academy team that was actual academy team was probably Toronto and I guess Boston at the time with Doug. But, like, I feel like that one was, like, I don't know if it was, like, I feel like Toronto Ultra was the only one that had, like, a genuine academy team.
We actually tried the academy system.
So, I don't know.
Because I know a couple of franchises in both the Cold War year and the Vanguard year had interest. New York had an academy team in Cold War.
Yeah.
Didn't work out. Didn't see the return in that.
Rocker Academy.
Rocker has one.
Yeah. So Rocker and Toronto were like the main. And then there was like, I think Boston. I don't remember if this year they kind of did, but I don't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean this team was cool. I mean, it just had everything that a team needed. Like we had a leader, we had our slayers, we were just very hungry. We all had the same goal of like we wanted to get back in the league, and we just strived for that very heavily. And we also, I came back, like we had a conversation. We were obviously close with Troy.
Yeah.
And because Jordan was the sub for Optic, we would scrim Optic a lot at the beginning of the year because we were pretty good. And at the beginning of the year, Optic wasn't like, I mean, they weren't bad, but they weren't great. And they like we would run strats with them all the time, like S&D strats or like run through maps that they weren't good at.
Yeah.
And we'd play them all the time. So we would talk to Troy a lot. And I remember Troy was like, if you want to get in the league, you just got to win everything. Long story short, we won everything for the most part. And we finally got offers, which that like obviously going into that I mean, Colt obviously got offered by you guys.
No, he didn't.
Well, not offered, but reached out and he denied it.
No, he actually didn't.
Oh,
now
yeah?
this is something that I wanted to address, and this is true. This is a true saying. You know, there's often two sides of a story.
Yeah.
And the truth. There was no offer for him,
Yeah.
right? So the way it worked was we were deciding after Major 2 on who we wanted to pick up from challengers and who from Clay and Crim needed to go. Pros and cons to both.
Yeah.
Right. And while that entire discussion was going on, we had interest for you and we had interest for Colt. I spoke to Colt. You know, there was still interest. He said what he wanted or what he saw the team would look like.
Yeah.
At the time, it was pretty unreasonable because it was a 3-man change.
Yeah.
So we wanted to bring.
Oh yeah,
you
I think he
in.
wanted to bring me in as well and put me as flex.
No, so you and him would be the sub duos, and then Paco would be flex.
Oh, is that what he wanted?
And at the time, Paco was top 5 SMG in the
Yeah.
game, regardless of our placings. So it didn't make sense.
Yeah.
And so that's as far as our conversation went.
Yeah.
Right. We asked him, okay, obviously, who his preference would be between Clay and Crim.
Yeah.
He obviously said Clay.
Yeah.
Right?
I
A
remember.
lot of people said Clay.
Yeah.
Right. And that was it. After he said that, we said, okay, we told him we'd look at different options. Because at the time, for me, when a change was being made, because we were very slow. We were such a slow team.
Yeah.
Right. There was such a pacing issue. And Paul was frying on London.
Yeah.
But London messed up. They had
Yeah.
Paul on a 2-week. They didn't sign him for the entire year. So it's like, okay, Paul's 2-week is going to end.
Yeah.
We need to get Paul. That is the priority to get the flex.
Instantly, yeah.
Instantly, has to be. And then from there, we'll figure out, do we want Clay? Do we want Crim? Do we want to pick up you? What we're going to do with Neptune? What we're going to do with Havoc?
Yeah.
Paul was instant number 1.
Yeah.
So then we signed Paul, and that changed the culture like that.
Mhm.
We had, we split up Clay and Crim. Crim moved him to main, but he's a pretty quick main. We obviously had Paul, who's a quick flex, and you got 2, Neptune and Paco. And we wanted to give it another shot with Nep. And obviously that didn't work for Major 3. And
Oh yeah, I remember that.
yeah. And then, I mean, we started off pretty good in the online qualifiers, but then we got to the event. I think we got reverse swept by LAT. I think we lost to FaZe in the winners, and then reverse swept by LAT Major 3.
No, Major 2.
No, but Major 3 Toronto was...
Major 3.
No, sorry, Major
no,
2.
it was
Sorry,
Major
Major
2,
2. Sorry,
Minnesota.
sorry, yeah. And then we felt like we needed to make another change. And to be fair to Paul's credit, he was like, yo, we've got to get Kiz. Got to get Kiz. He's frying in 8s.
It was crazy. I was playing S&D 8s with him. I remember he moved me in the team speak, and he was like, bro, you're gross. Yeah. And he was like, I'm going to talk to them and see what we can do, and like, blah, blah, blah. It's just crazy, like, how I was playing S&D 8s with Paul, and I, like, somehow, like, credit to him, like, he gave me a shot.
Yeah.
And gave me an opportunity to, like, prove myself.
Yeah.
It's just, like, wicked how, like, it all panned out. Because, like, from my side, I'm seeing we're like, on our Texas Nation team, we were very transparent of what offers we were getting.
Yeah.
Of, like, what could happen. Do we say yes or no? Like, we were trying to do like what you said, we're doing the pros and cons for even, like, when Colt was saying, like, New York, we were like, okay, is it good or is it bad?
Yeah.
And at the time, we were, like, talking about, like, it can be good, but you're going into a system that's really hard. Like, do you have, like, the intangibles to like fix those problems. Like, I don't know. We went through like a whole discussion of like deciding that.
Yeah.
And like, it's just wild that like, obviously I didn't know what your guys' side was, but we were under the assumption that if you guys like offered Colt was going to say no, because Colt was pretty set in stone on like he wanted to join Minnesota because he thought that team was going to be good, which like that's fine. And I remember I was talking to Paul when he was like telling me, I'm going to talk to the guys, I'm going to talk to Porter, I'm going to talk to these guys because like at the time like they knew me, but like he was like, I don't know if they're going to be certain yet, but like when I talk to them, maybe they'll like change their mind. And then while that's all happening, then like finally you guys like come to a consensus of like, okay, let's trial Kiz.
Yeah.
You guys trial me, but while this is happening, Colt is also messaging me like because he's trialing with Minnesota at the same time, and like they were doing like pretty good, but he was like, dude, it'd be crazy. Like he was like, it'd be crazy if there was like a way I could somehow, because like me and Colt were like super set in stone of trying to go somewhere together if we could.
Yeah. Because
rightfully so in this game we were disgusting as a sub duo. Like if we were together in the pro league, like we would have topped the charts. Like we would have been Simpa Beezy level. Like we were gross at that game as a duo.
Yeah.
Because like we just meshed really well. We understood the game really well, and like it was just one of those games where like we just had that duo-ship that was just like unmatched.
Yeah.
So we were super like set in stone of like let's try to go somewhere together if we can. And obviously we wanted both Paul, which is Brezzy in general, Jordan to get picked up as well if they could. It was just like kind of hard to like get everybody a spot. Like obviously we wish we could have got picked up as a team because that would have been cool, but we knew that wasn't a possibility. Like we were gonna have to split some point, especially winning everything. And I remember trialing with you guys, but at the same time, Colt was like, "Dude, it'd be crazy if we could somehow get on Minnesota together." And I remember like I was like DMing him. I was like, "Well, dude, the trials are going so good with New York. Like even when I was with Clay, like at the time, like every roster iteration I was in was like we were just dominating." Yeah. And it was like it was weird, but then at the same time Colt's like, well, let's just like don't sign anything yet, let's just see, because like they were talking, like I don't know who he was talking with, or if it was even like I don't know like this full story, but there was a chance where like Minnesota was going to trial me. I don't know how true that story is or if it could have forced into anything, but it's like wicked to think about like what could have changed if Colt joined New York. Would I have gotten picked up, or would the roles reverse? Colt comes here, I go to Minnesota. Did things change? Or if we trial and I don't sign right away with you guys and I go trial with Minnesota, like do I lose Bridges? Like there was so many like intertwined pathways that could have like it could like the car could have went left, right. It's like it's just weird thinking about like how I got to the point that I was at.
I think for me, I think the trials was such a big blessing.
Yeah.
I now have learned through these years to form my own opinion. Yeah. Never to form an opinion based on other people. A lot of people
had a very bad stigma of me for some reason.
Very skeptical of you, and I won't say like who it's from, but you had this reputation around you.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to say. I still to this day don't exactly know if it was a person that spread it or if it was just multiple people like just kind of talking. But I didn't know it was a thing until like I think I talked to you and like a couple other people where they were like. Even when I talked to Porter, like Porter was like, dude, you're nothing like what I thought you were going to be.
That's it, yeah.
Like everybody had the stigma that I was like some like horrible teammate. Like, and
you were
like,
toxic.
And I was toxic. I didn't come, I was late. Like I wouldn't watch VOD or I didn't do this or do that. And I'm like, dude, no, I put a lot of effort in for what I can do.
We did the trials and then I watched the first map we watched in the trials, listening to your comms, looking at how you played, how you fit in. Yeah. And I think that was with Clay. Was it with Clay?
It was me, Clay, Neptune, and Paul.
And I thought we were smoking everyone.
Yeah,
I thought, fucking hell, we need to sign you. I don't need to watch anymore. We need to sign you. And then after the trials, it was like, okay, we know we want Kiz. Yeah. We know obviously Paco's going to be on the team. We know Paul's going to be on the team. Who's going to be the last between Clay and Krim? And that was the whole purpose of the trials. I know Clay did really well, but then we won't go into that. But
no, they both
pros and cons
easily could have fit the team. So I don't know. I mean. I don't even remember exactly what even happened or how we made the decision or if I was even. I think I was in the decision. I don't remember. I don't remember.
Yeah,
we
won't go into it.
But
I'm glad that we did.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was super cool. I mean, I joined you guys in the first tournament we win.
Yeah,
which was insane. Obviously, like honeymoon or not, like it was cool. It was a very surreal moment to like win, as well with Krim. Like because like back to the old thing when I was in like. teaming with Crim6, like that's, you know what I mean?
No,
Like
no.
I'm joining I'm in a office here, and like the guy sitting beside me is Crim6. I'm like, what?
I think the biggest thing for me, you joining, is not obviously you changed how we played, but then the culture that we had. It didn't feel like we were walking into tension anymore. I mean, there still was, obviously.
Oh
but
yeah, no. I guess like it was,
that 1 month was amazing. It was everyone stood.
I think it was
hard.
weird because it was like it was definitely a change of environment with me coming in. Like obviously I'm a new person. I bring a different kind of vibe. I'm gonna be the most happiest kid ever because I am back in the league. So that's obviously gonna boost spirits automatically. I think back to what I said before with the whole like roster change. I'm very grateful that I was able to change, like come in, because it gave me an opportunity. And like obviously there's two sides. Like there's my side where it gave me an opportunity, but there's Clay and Nep's side that like dang, like they lost their opportunity because of something with me and Paul. So like there's just it's such a bittersweet thing, but like to that point, yeah, I fix things at the moment, but like those issues that are reoccurring with a roster, like they will resurface at some point.
What people don't realize is a lot of the issues that we had to band-aid.
Oh yeah.
There were no permanent solutions.
We
there
never,
was no fixes. There were band-aids to the situations. Also the off-season.
Yeah, no, there was never a fix for that core roster. It just would never work.
A lot of people don't realize the issues that we had.
And I don't even know all the issues that actually happened fully. Like obviously I had conversations with you and other people, and I like would learn stuff because I came in at such a weird time of like it being horrible, but then I was the fix, and then it was good for me, but then everybody else is like, oh yeah, it's good now, but wait, like 3 months ago was horrible. And then so like I was hearing stories of like what it was like. Is just I don't know.
Yeah, and I think I will say though a lot of it is exaggerated.
Yeah,
it's not as bad as people made out.
That bad.
But we, you know, when you argue, when you have drama, you like to exaggerate a little bit.
Yeah.
But this segues into obviously the off season. You kept your opinions to yourself. You kept quiet as you should.
Well, I learned from the Paris days that you have to be smart. You know, you can burn bridges very quickly, which I think, as most people know, it happened fast when people joined the flank and they were talking. Those bridges between those three and me and you, like it instantly. I mean, bro, it went nuts. I was sitting there watching, and I was sitting there with Brooke at her apartment, and we were just watching, and we're just like, oh my god.
You were like, the hell they doing over there,
dude? I was like, I remember I had my headset like on the table. I had to turn the mix amp turned all the way up so we could both hear it, and I'm like, they're really doing it. I was looking at her. I was like, they're talking about it. Like I didn't think they were going to talk about it.
From my perspective and from my POV, I'm the new guy, right?
I'm the new guy.
No, as in I'm the new guy in this space.
Yeah.
Right. And for me, I felt like one thing that I learned over the year, and this is also from the Havoc situation, there's a couple of situations with Nep Clay. If you don't say anything, the community is going to form that narrative.
Well, they will. Yeah, no, because if, in a sense, if let's say, I don't know. I forget who even went on there and talked first. Was it Porter?
It was Ian.
So yeah, okay, let's just say if Porter would have talked only Porter, everybody would have believed and only took Porter's narrative, and everyone would have hated every single other person.
Anyway,
instantly. So it's, I don't know. I don't condone what they did necessarily and how it was handled, or you guys.
Yeah.
But I think it was good to like air out, to like just let it go, I guess, for your own sake. I think it could have been done in a more private manner.
which it should have been, like every other franchise does.
It should just been a call between you guys where you guys went ham on each other. And
you had half the franchises in the year who had way worse issues. Now, I'm not excusing any of the issues that we had. You need to obviously reflect and learn. But 7, 8 other franchises are having even worse issues behind the scenes.
Oh yeah, no, everybody has
deal
problems.
with it in the back.
It just sucks that sometimes I think people seek validation from others to make them feel better about whatever they're going through. And which rightfully so, it's fine. I mean, everybody does it. I've done it, but it's like it was weird being a part of it.
You're a part of it, but you're not.
Yeah, right? I mean, I was trying to be very cautious because I felt that after that year, what I did with you guys, that I felt secure. Like I felt with Farzam and like the way conversations were going and everything, I was like, I feel as like I should have my job.
Oh yeah, when Farzam came to me, I said no question.
Like for the most part, like if it wasn't with New York, somebody would have been like, yeah, we want kids because of what I did.
Yeah, and
just not like in an ego way. I was like, I'm not gonna do anything to ruin my spot. I'm just gonna let them and that to be completely honest, like there was like I wasn't really a part of it. Like it wasn't my fight to fight. It was between you guys and what happened prior to when I joined, and then obviously a bit of when I joined, but like the stuff that happened while I joined was predeceived from the stuff that happened prior.
I think about this often, to be honest. Again, I went on to try and defend myself, and again, I shouldn't have because I was raging. I was seeing red because I'm a bully. And Bobble couldn't talk, and it's like no. How many times that wasn't true, like at all, right?
No, like
But anyway, I think about this often. Had we re-signed Paul and Krim, this is not an issue. Nothing comes out.
Well, yeah, I think, that was the big problem that they realized they weren't getting re-signed.
Well, that was the day. Or that was the
cutoff. Yeah,
that was the cutoff. So they knew on that day whether you'd been re-signed or not. So you got re-signed. Paco got re-signed. Paul got re-signed, but he was
as a substitute.
Yes.
Yeah.
And had they been re-signed, none of this would be an issue.
No, it would have been an actual private conversation. Yes. It might not even been a conversation.
How many times with Fish did we have these conversations? Many times. Like I said, this year was about band-aiding the situation. There was no permanent fixes.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's just it's the validation.
Yeah.
Like I said, for instance, if we go back to when I was on Paris and I got dropped for the 2 days, I wanted validation from Troy.
Yeah.
So like I raged to him to look for somebody to agree with me. Obviously, if he wouldn't have agreed with me, it would have changed my outlook on things and, blah, blah, blah. But like that was Porter's idea was I want to get validation on what I think is right, which is fine. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion of what could have been better or whatever. So he's looking for validation. Then you're looking for validation. Then Paul's looking for validation and Paco's looking for validation while also all countering each other's thought process on what was going on.
Yeah.
That's where I think like it's not like what you guys were doing was essentially there was no fix to it. It was you guys were just yelling at each other for no outcome.
Yeah.
I guess is the way that I saw it. Everyone had their own points, good or bad. It just I don't know. It could have been handled a lot better. I mean obviously I have my opinions on like what actually happened and from my point of view. I guess to put it straight and like not go into it too deep, I think if I'm just being brutally honest, like all four of you plus Bobble were in the wrong, to be just blunt.
Oh, absolutely.
None of you, like I think what you guys did in the year, from the stories I heard from when I was there, I don't really like. I guess to put it into like words, no one really had the right to call each other out other than yourselves.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree.
Because
with that.
I think, and I'm not like measuring of like, let's just I'll use you and Porter. Like I'm not saying Porter's was here of like his level of like you did this bad and then Javed you only did this bad. Yeah. Like everybody was at the same. Like you all were bad. And then when you guys yelled at each other, you guys put yourselves on that same pedestal of just it's not good. And I think that was the problem, that there was no true self-reflection of like anything. It was just all pointing fingers at everyone. Obviously,
I disagree to a certain extent.
Well, there was self-reflection in moments outside. I'm talking about in the moment of the flank.
Yeah, but I only went on to defend myself.
Yeah, but at the same time, but also to like you were defending yourself, but feeding into the fire is my point.
Oh, that's because I was an idiot.
Yeah, that's my point of like there was no like I don't know. I guess that's my whole point. It was just constant feeding into the fire of Porter started this fire and then Paul threw wood on it and you blew on it and then Paco poured gasoline on it just because everybody was just mad at everybody.
Yeah, that's what it was, because I felt like at the moment I was getting tweets and hate. I'm this, I'm that. I've done this, I've done that, when it's completely false and like it was not true, and I had a legal case on it, right? And it was completely false. So I felt like in the moment, okay, I have to defend myself. Yeah, no, but I'm seeing red.
Respectfully,
so
like
I'm not thinking straight either.
I don't blame you, because like I'm not saying I'm perfect. Like I might do the same thing in the moment. I don't know what I would do in that moment, but it was just like, I think the whole thing was just none, like, I don't know. Everyone was bad.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Like, I will say confidently, like, I don't think I was like perfect, but like I tried very hard that year to like make everything good. I had conversations with you where it was just me and you in the office because no one else would show up.
Yeah.
And I was like, bro, what am I doing? Like, why am I here? What's the point of this? Like, no one else is caring. Like, I feel like I'm out of place.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just trying to make this opportunity I was very blessed to get into something. And I feel like these people that are well-rounded players, some like, I mean, Krim being the super champion he is, and it's like, I can't get people to show up to an office.
I think that was the holidays, though.
No, it wasn't holidays.
It wasn't.
No.
It wasn't. I thought we could play at home.
No. It wasn't the holidays, because it was just days where people wouldn't show up because of any reason they could find.
Oh, I remember.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, like
and like
medical
stuff like that,
and
like it was to the point where like that's like the stuff I was trying to like preach of, like when the flank everybody's like pointing fingers of like you're bad, and I'm like, well, no, like everybody was just really bad that year, and like you guys just. Like, no one really took the time to, like, reflect and be like, dang, like, I'm letting everybody down and myself.
Yeah.
And it's like, I just think there was so many pent-up things from prior to me joining that it just, like, that's the thing about that roster. Like, I think those, like, I could sit down with every single one of them and be, like, we're cool, I'm friends.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they could sit down with each other as well and talk and be friends. Like, it's, at the end of the day, we're human and things happen. It's just, like, I just think that was the biggest issue when it came to the flank stuff, that like it was just everybody wanted to just talk shit about each other and not really look at it like
it was just fueled from anger. Yeah, that's all.
No one looked at it as a opportunity to be like, I could have done this better. Yeah, like not like maybe like small comments, but like everyone was a problem at some point. Of that roster, and like rightfully so. Like I could have been a kind of a problem, but I truly felt like, especially that year, that short stint of when I was on that team of Vanguard, like I gave everything I could to like try to, be the best I could, make everything as good as I could.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think, to be honest with you, I think 90% of the decisions that I made during that year was based on the circumstances that we had to try and band-aid the situation. So, for example, one of the points that Ian used was Paco had privilege. And the reason why he used that was because we let Paco stay at home with his mum, right?
Yeah, I remember that.
But the reason why we got his mum in the US in the first place was because, you guys won't know this, but he was completely mentally choked.
Yeah.
Completely choked. It was horrendous. And so we surprised him with that. We thought, okay, your mom's coming over, surprise.
Yeah, that's cool.
You can stay for me. He was going hard. Like, he was, that week of scrims, he was going dumb hard. I remember that.
I mean, he was happy.
He was happy, right? So, but at the time, it was like Ian and Paul. It was confidential at the time. He's comfortable sharing it now because it's a year ago. But at the time, it's confidential. He didn't want to mention that.
Yeah, it's hard because like
I felt like any decision I made, it was not a permanent fix, but it was like, how can we just get this over the finish line?
Yeah.
And then reset.
It's just rough because, like, I understand. I don't know. It's just hard because, like, I understand both sides. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because from Paco's side, he's down and he wants to be happy, and like this is something that's making him happy. But from like Porter's side and Paul's side, it's like, well, why does he get that? Like, you know what I mean? Because they don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And like, I guess that's like just something that like it was just a transparency issue that we had.
Yeah.
But I think that also comes from all the things that were prior. Like, there was no trust between you guys as a team, and then obviously when I joined, like, there was no trust in us. Yeah. Like, maybe for a stint when we won because, like, oh, we're happy. Yeah. But, like, instantly just back down. And I just think, like, that's just, I mean, a lesson to learn to, like, for every future team that you ever are on or anybody makes that they're on, like, there needs to be some kind of transparency.
Yes, like we have here.
Yeah, because without that, like, when things are bad, you just instantly think the worst thing. But if you just know, like, you know, like how we do now, like if I come into the office and I'm like, guys, like I'm not there today. Yeah. I'm going to give you everything I can, but like I might be short. I might get really pissed. I might, whatever. Like it sucks, but at least like from a standpoint of me, I'm like, okay, that sucks. Today might not be good, but at the same time, I respect them so much because they can come to me and be like, Matt, something's wrong. Yeah. I don't want to go into detail what's wrong, but something's wrong and I'm not going to be there. So then that in my head, I'm like, I feel so much better about that because I'm like, dang, like this, he trusts me enough to tell me that something's wrong to where now I'm going to be able to try my best to pick him up.
Yeah.
And if something goes wrong, I'm more lenient because I understand like, okay, XYZ is happening.
Yeah.
We're human. Whatever affects you. And like, it could be, bro, I mean, something that affects you, I could sit here and be like, what the hell, that doesn't affect me. But like at the same time, I also understand like, okay, if it affects you, it affects you. Like I'm going to be there for you because I care about you or whatever. And I think last year there was just
there's no culture, non-existent culture.
Bro, everybody hated each other. I swear.
Yeah, no, we did. Obviously, a lot of the fault ultimately does come on me. And to be honest with you, after the whole flank situation, I was getting a lot of abuse. My parents were getting abuse. I was getting abuse. At that time, I thought, this ain't worth it for me.
Oh yeah, I mean,
this isn't literally not worth it for me.
That's the problem when you invite opinions that don't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Like I respect everyone on the flank. I respect a lot of people in the community, but not a single one of their opinions mattered. Like in the grand scheme of it, their opinions did not, because their opinions will not affect, or they can affect, but they won't change the outcome, or they couldn't previously change anything. Like, does that make sense?
It does, but when you're getting a lot of abuse, a lot of...
Oh no, I mean obviously that I'm saying that's why I wish you guys didn't go to the flank, because going to the flank is inviting opinions that do not matter. Yeah. But once you invite them, now they matter because it messes with your mind. You're reading them, you can't get away from them.
Management's reading them. All the players you want to work with are reading them.
Everybody's bringing it up, and now you have to clear your name some way somehow, or you have to live with it if everything is true, because there's no clearing it up about other than apologizing. Yeah,
and at the time I thought I wanted to. There's no point me doing this anymore. I'm going to go back. I can go into investments, whatever. It's not worth it. But then there's a part of me that thought, okay, if you want to be the leader that you think you can be in boxing, in cancer research, whatever, you need to reflect. You need to drop the ego, completely drop the ego, and figure out throughout the year where it went wrong, why it went wrong, what you can do better. Mm-hmm. And obviously, we tried that this year, made a lot of changes. And I just thought, I need to prove him wrong. I need to prove the scene wrong. I don't want to go out like this. Yeah. I want to prove him that I'm not this bully, that I can't work with others. I'm not letting this person speak. Paco's getting privileges, blah, blah, blah. No, I'm not going to prove. I want to disprove that. Mm. The only way to do that, I could have sued Krim. I had a valid case, right? I had a valid case.
Fair enough.
Right? I had went to 2 law firms because it was bad. Misinformation, all that. But I thought, what's the point? I'm a coach at the end of the day, right? Yeah. I still have love for Krim. Yeah. He's still the greatest of all time. I'm not going to put him through shit for no reason. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grow a pair. I'm going to learn. And I'm going to just keep growing and keep trying my best and prove people wrong that way. Yeah. And I mean, hopefully...
you know.
I mean, I don't know. Hopefully. There we are.
Keep going. That's the plan.
So hopefully, as long as my players, as long as you can see that.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like I said, I have respect for everybody, no matter what. Like, I don't know. I don't belittle people. At least I try not to. I mean, I might in competition sometimes but not in a genuine way. Like, I'll never, I think everybody's good people. I respect people. Unless they do wrong, then obviously I won't respect you or whatever. But
it's also why I think Ray should have been given another opportunity, to be honest with you. I think someone as smart as him, intelligent, experienced, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
people can change, right? So we won't go into that, but I feel like people can grow, people can change.
I mean, everybody can grow, everybody can change. I think it takes a very big, I don't know, I do have a lot of respect for Ray and that whole thing without going down that whole topic. It's just being able to take yourself out of a situation and being the bigger person and not retaliating is that does take a lot.
More of a man than me. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I'm telling you, if someone was to call me out in the right way, I don't know if I could do it. It would be hard. I would want to, fight fire with fire type thing. Yeah.
But that takes self-awareness. Yeah. That takes a lot of self-awareness.
It's just maturity, I think, at the end of the day. Yeah. Genuine maturity.
So we do this every episode. What is your craziest conspiracy theory
of anything in the
anything world? Aliens exist, jet fuel, steel beams, you name it.
No, I guess like the only thing I've ever like actually thought as a theory is like I don't know. I guess the only one that like I genuinely can like maybe believe in is the whole like president thing.
Explain.
I don't like like I think I would easily believe that there's like a round table of like these like top people
Yes.
that actually rule everything within the world.
Yes,
Like
the
the
1%.
president and everything is like I don't know if it's like what if it's an actual conspiracy or like what it would be
Freemasons, Illuminati,
yeah,
that
like
kind of stuff.
like it might be true that like there's really just like one genuine like a group of people that are like the top people that like rule everything. Like our president or other people that are like presidents and stuff are just figures for them to like
I
move
agree.
around.
I to be honest, that's a
But
really
I would
good.
never know. I would never know if it's true or not.
That's honestly that's a fantastic theory because I feel the same way. I don't think it's necessarily presidents, but I think it's like owners of the banks.
Yeah, like just like
Finance.
people that you think like run things. Like I don't know. I just have a feeling that like there's actually this like secret table
Rockefellers.
or something that they sit there and talk and they're like, okay, you're gonna like they give them enough power to like make certain changes and hit XYZ to where people think like, okay, I'm doing this for a reason. But at the end of the day, there's a certain group of people that like if they want something to happen, it happens.
Yeah. Enough money, you can make anything happen.
Yeah.
And that's why I think the banks, the Rockefellers, the Juan, Google Rockefeller.
Yeah, I know that like the Rockefellers, like the 1%, like whatever thing it is.
Yeah, these guys, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I guess that's the only like kind of conspiracy theory that I could maybe like agree on. Everything else, like, I don't know. I don't really believe in it.
Aliens.
I don't know.
You think
I'm more of
there's-
a religious person. I don't think there's aliens.
Fair enough.
If there, I don't know. Maybe there is. Who knows, bro? Like, I mean, obviously, like, I can have my own opinions. Like, I don't know. Because I know everybody's like, oh, it's everything's out there. Like, surely there's somebody out there, something out there.
You think we're close to the end times?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like within our, I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. It depends. It depends on how you look at it. I think there's a lot of like, if you're religious, there's a lot of signs that like go towards it that like things are happening. But then I don't know. Who knows?
Okay.
Until it happens, we won't know. I try not to like think about it. I just live my life.
And then one change for COD esports, one change in game, one change out the game, whether it's the structure, the format.
End game.
Yeah.
Well, I have two. We need dead silence and we need red dots.
Yeah.
I don't know how we don't have that. It will never make sense to me. So I don't know. That's wild. And the fact that we've complained about it and it's just like they're just like sorry. Like,
We don't care.
like
We'll put red dots in the gun game though, or whatever it's called.
I don't understand how that's a thing, but it is what it is. Outside of the game, I think my biggest thing is just I wish there was more teams. I think there's so many players that deserve a chance.
What's your ideal?
I mean,
more the better?
ideally 16. Because if you have 16, then you open up. Like I wish that we could just have our CWL format in CDL era. Like we should have 16 teams.
Yeah.
We should have our league matches on LAN, whether it be in Texas and they're in Columbus where their like studios are.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have the ability. Like we're like the amount of money that's put into CDL is like way more than was in CWL, and we did it in CWL era.
Yeah.
Like I think they can do it. I just don't understand the reasoning why they don't do it. I know there's like the whole thing of like, I don't know. And then the other thing that like the reason I wish it was a thing is like the whole pro-am events. Like I think every event should be like that. Like you're paying $20 million for a spot. I get that.
Yeah.
You want your team to be shown and you don't want you to see your team lose to an amateur team.
Yeah.
I get that. But like that's what creates our esport and makes our esport different than others. It gives people hope that can't be in the league to like, okay, I can like, it creates that underdog story of like like I'm like you say I can't do it, fine, I'll prove you wrong.
Yeah.
It creates that like drive for someone like, you know, imagine a team was in the like say for instance my Texas Nation team. Say every event that we went to was a pro-am event.
Yeah.
And we somehow won it as a challengers team. Like I'm telling you, the amount of fans we would just automatically get because everybody's like everybody loves an underdog, no matter who you are. Like it's just super cool to see. And like I just think having like a 16 team thing where 4 amateur teams could get into it every single time, like I just like I don't know why that's not a thing. Like it just creates so many stories. It creates, I mean, everything.
Initially, the pushback was from ownership groups.
I get that. I know their point of like, okay, I'm paying for this. Why does why do they not have to pay this? And that's where I think you create a differential of like, you have some pro-am tournaments where like, you know, if you win, there's not as much money, but then there's pro exclusive tournaments that are more money, more sponsors, more this, more that. And like, also, you know what I mean? Like, I know there should be ways to like intertwine them, but like, I just don't think they show any love to challengers. It's horrible.
No,
like, and there has to be some way to create something for them.
Yeah.
Other than you streaming yourself and hoping somebody sees you, or you having to win literally every tournament to get a glimpse of a trial.
Yeah.
No disrespect to like you guys are Minnesota though when you did it, but like, you know what I mean? Like I won everything and I could have came into the trial and got smoked and then nothing happens.
Yeah.
Like that's what I mean. Like it's so hard. Like there is no, I don't know. Like, and obviously it should be hard because it's only 48 people in the entire world that get to do what we do. But like, man, it's like, it's discouraging. Like if you're not the top of the top, like, it's hard.
I think for me, and I think I mentioned this last episode, I think a cool format change or sort of the end goal format change, what we could do is similar to NBA. You have an Eastern, you have a Western.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool.
I think that'd be cool.
Just like different, I don't know. They can go so many different ways. I don't know.
Yeah. No, but yeah, appreciate you. Appreciate the insight into your history,
a
your mind.
small amount. There's a lot more, but you know, it would if I went from like day one to now, man, it would take me ages to sit there and talk.
I'd love to do it another time. Definitely.
Yeah, we can do more. I could come back on and we can go deep dive into certain parts of my life, I guess, that I want to talk about.
I'd love
certain parts I don't want to mention.
Yeah.
But you know.
But yeah. What are your Twitter and your Twitch?
Twitter is KiSMET6_. Same as Twitch, both KiSMET6_. That's where you can find me.
Make sure you follow me on both, please.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on. I appreciate talking. No, it's fun.
And here we are. KiSMET6_. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate you having me.